Good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. Just so you know, I will be recording this and I will be sending an email after this presentation to send out to anyone. We'll send it to students and admissions as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank you guys for coming today. I really appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Ways to Prepare webinar brought to you by Indiana Tech's Career Center. Today, we're going to be discussing the necessary steps needed to change your career path. And I will be presenting today. My name is Demetria Petty, and I am a career coach. I specifically work with a lot of our CPS and online students. Most of them are adult learners who are switching careers. So what a better time especially in this day and age, to talk about switching careers and what's needed and how do we get to that, our goal. All right. So before we get started today, let's take some time to think about these 5 questions. So number 1, how do you leverage your past work experience? So what are your transferable skills? How do we transfer them to different career paths, even if they don't necessarily seem like things that correlate with one another? Number 2, how much education is needed for your new career? Outside of getting your degree, will you need to go back to school to earn more education? Do you need any certifications or licenses that are going to be associated with that specific career goal? Number 3, can you withstand the financial cost of a career change? Can you handle a pay cut if necessary if you need to go into an entry-level position in order to gain that experience to climb up the ladder of leadership within that role? Number 4, do you have a support system? Who's in your corner? And if you don't have anyone in the corner, how do you go about getting someone? And number 5, how long would it take for you to be established in this career? So this is where we really need to assess, where do we want to be and how long will it take to get there? And after you find out all that information, is it even worth it in the end? So now we're going to watch a short video from our Candid Career series that we offer on our Indiana Tech website.
So, you're ready to jump into a new industry. I'm sure you've thought long and hard about it. And that's recommended. And I'm sure you have your reasons. So here are 3 tips to help make it a successful transition. Number 1, take an inventory of the transferable skills that you have. Know what those skills are and how they can be applied to your new industry. For instance, if you sold cars in the automobile industry, how could that help you sell or market insurance products in the insurance industry? Take those skills and think of them as a packaged product that you can unveil in your interview. Number 2, learn the language. You need to do your homework and learn the industry inside and out. You can do this by speaking with insiders in the field, reading trade journals, or listening to podcasts and webinars. Whatever you do, learning the lingo and the current circumstances of the industry will help you land a job and hit the ground running. And that is exactly what employers will need to see from an industry changer, that you're capable of contributing right away with minimal training required. Number 3, expand your network. If you've been in one industry for a number of years, you probably have a network of similar professionals. Now it's important to build that network outside of that industry. That will help you improve your prospects of landing a job and also learning the business. You can do this by setting up informational interviews or joining professional groups and attending industry events. Changing industries can be scary, but people do it all the time. If you know yourself and you're willing to do the work, you can absolutely find success in a new industry.
So if you're interested in seeing more videos from our Candid Career Series, they are available on our website at www.careercenter.indianatech.edu. They talk about a wide range of topics: resumes, interviews, networking, changing careers, like you just seen. They even have real life conversations with people who've done these things that you can kind of pull from their experience as well. All right, so let's review some of the topics that were discussed in that video. So, make a list of occupations to explore what careers you are drawn to. So, what have you always been interested in doing? What has you always thought about but really never pursued? Research the job outlook and advancement opportunities and salary. Can I make a living in the area that I currently reside in doing any of these jobs that I am considering looking into? Do I need to move up the leadership ladder in some capacity? And can I within those roles? And lastly, narrow search and start conducting informational interviews. So this is a time to not only build your network of people within that industry. By this time, you probably decided, okay, I really want to go into health information technology, for instance. If I know I want to go into that field, now it's time to start researching people in that area that I can have a small conversation with. So we can reach out via LinkedIn. Maybe we know these people in our real lives already. Maybe we've come across these people and we just want to pick their brains, but really start to dig into what it is about that career that you're interested in. Ask them about their education. Did they have to gain any licenses? Are they comfortable in that position? Do they wish they had done something different? What is their outlook on the overall profession? Ask those questions and kind of see what you get and see if what you want to do realigns with what you thought you wanted to do. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. But it's good that we get those conversations out the way before we start making major changes to our lives. So another great tool that we utilize in the Career Center, I can't tell you how helpful it has been to me, is the Indiana Career Explorer website. So basically, this is an assessment tool that we use in our office, one of them at least, where you can take small, short quizzes, about 5 to 10 minutes for each quiz, depending on how long it takes you to go through them. And they're going to be testing your skills, your interests, and your work values. So they'll ask simple questions, things like, would you rather work inside or outside? Would you rather work independently or on a team? How important is it to you that you feel needed in your company? Is it important to you that you help people versus make money? Things like that, to kind of gain a sense of who you are as an individual and what type of career would be best fit for you. For instance, if I am really into helping people and I know that that means more to me than making money, then I will probably avoid careers where there's going to be a large salary, but I don't get a lot of interaction with everyday people, because what drives me, my passion, is to help people. So maybe I'm going to be drawn to human services more than I'm going to be drawn to a business degree because of that push. So it's a really, really great tool. We have instructions on how to get into our site. It's very simple, very user-friendly. So you can contact the Career Center for more information about that. Another cool feature listed on that website, outside of the assessment option, is once you get your results, they're going to create something called a career cluster. Within a career cluster, you are going to see different industries. So they'll give you like a top 5, I believe, of different industries that you might be interested in based off of your assessment answers. Within that, you can go ahead and search through those industries and look at jobs within them. So sometimes you'll come up with jobs that you've never even heard of before, or positions that you didn't know were available. This site is Indiana specific, so they will give you a lot of job outlook information and salary information based on Indiana, but you can utilize this to look up any state at any time. And you can also go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics if you will want to know something very specific to your specific state if you are in Indiana. But it's a really good resource, and I encourage everyone to check it out. So next, we're going to talk about experiential education. A lot of us are thinking, I want to go into another career path. I know that I can do more. I've always wanted to do this. I'm taking a plunge. I'm ready to do it. Let's go. Well, while we want you guys to get that education and we know that that is a lot and is very, very important, employers are looking at, okay, you have book knowledge. I don't know if you can apply it in a everyday situation. So this is where internships and co-ops come into play. So for those who aren't familiar with an internship, this is an opportunity where you can get some hands-on experience that translates to what you learned in the classroom. So you'll be placed into a position, an internship position at a company, and you will be giving tasks from an actual employer, little projects that are going to benefit the company and get your feet wet, if you will, in that area. It's a great time to interact with other interns, other people within the company, get mentored by people who are in positions that you would like to see yourself in one day. It's a really great thing. We strongly encourage rather, that all of our students participate in some type of internship experience. It's really, really helpful. Employers prefer hiring students of any capacity that have that internship experience because that at least tells them, yeah, they may have worked in retail for 10 years, but I see that they have this internship experience, and that gives me a better understanding so that they get what we're doing here on a day-to-day. It's not just I read a book about it, but I actually did it. I understand. Now, a co-op is very similar. The difference between the co-op and an internship typically is that a co-op experience is for a longer period of time. An internship may last for a semester, or it may be something that you do for a couple months in the summertime. But a co-op experience could possibly be a year in the making. It could be a longer project. It may not be for class credit, but it will give you some more hands-on experience that internships don't necessarily get to do because they're usually short periods of time, short projects. Employers only have a certain amount of time to mentor and develop people before they move on. A co-op is a little bit different. So you will leave with a better understanding than what you might in an internship if that company doesn't have the capacity to continue that internship on for longer periods of time. But with either of these options, I would suggest that you check into them because, as I said earlier, employers prefer it, but also because these are good times to build on your references on when you are looking for positions. You can say like, hey, I worked for X company as an intern for a semester. They can tell you about my work experience, about my effort, about the things that I learned and that what I'm doing and how it will translate into your company. Or you could get a chance and an opportunity to stay on with that company for a longer period of time, maybe get a permanent position. It all depends on how much effort you put into that internship or co-op experience. Now we're going to talk about resumes and cover letters. The fun part, the stuff that, is constantly changing. But we have the tools and the resources to make sure that as your resume and cover letter changes in the work world, we will change with it. So let's start with resumes. This is a living and breathing document. You're always going to update it and constantly change it. Employers may want one thing this year and then next year they'll decide, actually, we don't want you to focus on that. Let's focus on this instead. So we are constantly meeting with employers, asking the questions. What do you want to see? How do you want students to go about it? So we are always trying to stay up on resumes specifically. So your resume is going to list out your experience. I do a lot of resume reviews for students. It's one of I would say, my most popular appointment. And I notice a lot of times that, especially with people who are transitioning careers, they feel a bit of imposter syndrome. If I don't show them every single job I've ever done, how are they going to know I'm a good worker? Well, Susan, you worked in retail for 10 years, and yes, you have transferable skills, but I don't think it's necessarily that you start off with all of your retail experience. Let's focus in on this internship experience that you just got out of, while also showing that you have past work experience working in general. But let's focus really on those skills you learned while in your internship, because you want to go into mechanical engineering and you want to leave retail in the past. So we focus on that a lot. We also noticed that a lot of people feel like I don't need a resume right now. I just got started. That's not necessarily true. It's always good to at least start a resume as early as freshman year, and then we can continue to add and build onto it as you get more into your degree, as you start to get those internship opportunities. You always want to update it and change it, but don't wait until the last minute because resume writing can be daunting. You got to remember a lot of dates, a lot of facts. It's easier just to do it as you go. And remember that while you may not have a lot of experience now, use those relevant coursework sections to talk about the classes that you are taking that are directly related to your major, that you can show an employer, hey, I'm working on this. I've learned this in school. This is where I plan to be by the time I graduate. Now, to cover letters. A cover letter is where you can kind of get into more detail. Resumes tend to be 1 page max, maybe 2 if you have enough experience. But that cover letter is where you can kind of go into more detail about things. So maybe you want to talk about your gap in employment. Maybe you decided college is very important to me. I'm going to take time off for work and be a full-time student. You could explain that gap there. Or you could talk about, I was a parent of a child who went to recreational therapy twice a week. During that time, I started to learn more about recreational therapy, and I decided that I would like to be in a position to help other parents with their children who have to go to recreational therapy. This is your time to kind of get creative with your passion, your purpose, why you are at the point in your life where you are ready to move on to this career path. So this is going to be really, really helpful for those career changers. And similar to a resume, they're going to be different based off of what you're applying for. You want to tailor it and make it seem like you wrote it specifically for that employer. So we can work on that in our office to just make it seem like you're not just regurgitating everything and sending the exact same thing to every company, every industry. We want to personalize it as much as possible. So let's say you have your resume, you are ready for an internship opportunity, you've been taking classes, you're ready to go. Here are some other ways that we can kind of help you get ready for that interview experience. So right now we have our webinar series. We have this one, which is Way to Prepare. We have 15 Minutes With, which is a series that we have where we have employers volunteer to talk about anything for 15 minutes. Short amount of time, straight to the point. They could talk about their industry specifically. They could talk about, hey, this is how I got to where I am. They could talk about social media, do's and don'ts, anything. We also are rolling out a series where we have alum who will also be doing webinars where they talk about their experience, how they got to where they are, things they wish they would have known when they were in college and in your shoes. So be on the lookout for emails from the Career Center talking about these upcoming webinars. We do record them so that you can play them back at your own time. We know that we're all busy. We all have a lot going on right now. We can't always sit through a live recording, but we do have that available for you to play back whenever you need it. We have virtual mock interviews. We utilize our Warrior Jobs platform for this. So let's say you have an interview coming up and it's a phone interview, or you have to do it over Zoom or Teams or something like that, and you're nervous because you've never had to do an interview in this capacity before. Well, we have pre-recorded interviews based on industries already waiting and ready for you in our website. All you have to do is log in with your Indiana Tech username and password, and you can have access to all these different interviews. And as long as you have a camera and a microphone, you can utilize this on your phone, on a laptop, desktop, wherever. You can go ahead and answer those questions. There will be a pre-recorded question, and you can record yourself responding to that and then play it back. Sometimes we do things that we are familiar, we do it. I know for me, I'm a hands person. I talk a lot with my hands, but that can be distracting to some people. Some people say ums and ahs. Some people play with their hair. You can really look at yourself and say, hey, I do these things I didn't know I did. Now I need to work on not doing those things so I don't distract someone. So those are always good steps to take, and I strongly encourage you guys to take a look into Warrior Jobs for this option. It's very, very helpful. We have professional dress days in our office, of course, but we aren't in our offices right now. So we also offer them virtually. So if you have a photo of yourself in an outfit that you would deem to be professional dress, you can send that to our email and we can give you a quick critique. Like, hey, this will be good for an everyday going to work type of situation. But if I were going on an interview, I might put a tie on. I might put on a suit jacket as well. I see you have heels on. Are you comfortable with walking in heels for long periods of time? What if the employer wants to take you on a tour of the campus? Are you able to walk and withstand in them for long periods of time? Think about things like that. We also offer etiquette meals. We do these on campus, but we also have virtual resources to share with you. So if you have an interview over a meal and you're nervous, you don't know which fork to use, who sits down at the table first, what to order, we have something that we can share with you about all those things. What foods to avoid because they're messy and sloppy. Should you order the most expensive thing on the menu? Things of that nature. So we have all those resources available to you on our website and via appointments. Excuse me. Next, we're going to talk about social media for a second. So we all know about LinkedIn. Maybe we know about LinkedIn. Most of us know about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So we're going to talk about that briefly. If you are looking for a job, most people, especially employers, are going to go to LinkedIn.com. So this is like a social media site, a Facebook, if you will, but only for professionals. So this is where you're going to post about articles that are related to your industry, where you're going to talk about projects you've been working on, where you're going to talk about best practices from that industry, things of that nature, where you're going to build your network of people and connections that you could pull on in the future. This is where you do all of that. So LinkedIn is a site that's become widely popular. We have employers who state that they spend a good amount of their time in LinkedIn every day searching for candidates for positions. So you can leverage your LinkedIn account in order to gain access to companies that maybe you wouldn't have just by sending in your resume and your cover letter. Other sites that people are reviewing, obviously the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters. Please be mindful about what you're posting. Be mindful about what you're sharing. Be mindful about what you're liking. Is it going to be considered distasteful? Or to an employer, could that be the reason that you don't move on in the process for a job? It could be, and we would hate that. So just be mindful about those things when you're using your social media. We're going to talk a little bit more about Warrior Jobs. So I already mentioned that we utilize this site for virtual interviews, but we also utilize it as a job board. So we use this we always try to attract students to go to this website if they're looking for employment on campus or off campus. You can filter it out by location. You can filter it out by if you're looking for an internship specifically, if you're looking for jobs that are related to a specific career path. You can do all of those things. You can also upload your resume and other documents, which makes it a lot easier when applying to jobs. It's already there. You don't have to download a file from your computer or a USB. It's already there for you to go. And it's just a great tool. We really pride ourselves on making sure that we are bringing employers to students who are looking for students, but also have great opportunities. So anytime that we meet an employer, we always ask them to make an account so that they can post their jobs, or they'll send them to us directly and we'll post them. So if you're job searching, my first step would probably be to go to Warrior Jobs. And then other platforms that you might want to look at, Indeed, LinkedIn, as we've spoken about, Monster, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, Career Builder. Sometimes when you're looking for employment, it's great to cast a wide net. You just want to see what's out there, see if you're seeing the same jobs on the same sites, or are some jobs only posted on one and not the other. When we're jobs hunting, we just got to have lots of resources. Now that brings us to the end of our presentation. Does anyone have any questions? We do have a chat feature. So if you have any questions, I'll give you a couple minutes to formulate some questions. But in the meantime, thank you for everybody who came in today. We really, really appreciate it. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can always email us at careercenter@indianatech.edu, or you can pop into our virtual front desk. This is for our walk-in appointments. If you just need help with something really quickly, or you need to schedule an appointment with one of our career coaches, all you do is click the link and you will be connected to someone who can assist you there. And then, as always, you can call our number. We have forwarded that, so we can still be reached via phone by all of our phone numbers that are listed also on our website. So thank you guys so much for coming here today. I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions or more details, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to connect with you in any way possible. Okay, I don't see any questions. So if that's all we have today, thank you guys for showing up and have a great afternoon.